Where do you see the greatest disconnects or opportunities for alignment between academia and industry when it comes to supporting women in chromatography?
So I think the greatest disconnect, I don't necessarily know, think it's just with women. I think in general, there's a big gap between in academics, you spend all this time, 5, 6 years in the US trying to solve one specific problem and understanding it like nitty gritty, becoming the expert super deep down. And when you come into industry in like a role like I'm in, it's a very high paced role where you have to learn where enough is enough. You have an answer, you've solved a problem. You may not understand it all or have every single detail, but you can't spend 5 years trying to solve a customer's problem or try to develop the next best thing. So you have to learn this line. And being able to bridge that line, I think, is very important. I think it's also important for academics to empower the teamwork and the communication because as I think Chelsea mentioned too, you really need that once you get into the real world and in industry. You need to be able to talk to other people. You need to be able to brainstorm. You need to be able to come up with a plan and design experiments and those things. And I think those are skills that we all need and that those really are important in bridging that gap because you come over into industry and you're just kind of thrown in there and you got to find your way, but you have to have these tools in your toolbox in order to do that.
From my perspective, I think a disconnect or something that could, be enhanced upon between both academia and industries, like more like the reward productivity. Like, in academia, you're like, Amanda was saying, like you're working for a certain, problem or focal area, focus point for so long. And then you're rewarded on your publications, on all these other services and things. In industries, the same, like project management, the deliverables that you give, your team. But I think there's also like a disconnect a little in that rewarding that productivity in both settings. Something like establishing a little bit more of that human connection to both in industry and academia, like setting, like your promotion or, like how are you, like your leadership. I think that there could be more alignment in like being a little bit more sustainable and humane, like the humanity aspect of both roles, that sometimes life happens. And then, that sometimes we could be creative and we can be productive, but, how you're rewarding me or how you're gauging that success sometimes could be better aligned to kind of promote that, success across both academia and industry. And I think that that's where the potential for, better guidelines onto how we measure those that don't have to be as rigid.
I really like the first two answers that were given, especially I can relate a lot to Amanda's in terms of being able to understand the pacing of the environment in industry versus academia is something that is always something that I think can be learned. But I do think a way that we can help to align and improve kind of that problem, because this is one I was thinking about too, is that I do think that having more opportunity for especially academics coming out of graduate school or even undergraduate during some like summer internship programs are really, really valuable to help bridge some of that gap. So I think, being able to have the opportunities to bridge some of that disconnect and being able to have even short-term programs like that are really, really valuable to give something a try and get those experiences in front of people a little bit more often. Because kind of relating to my answer that I was talking about my path, I felt like sometimes in graduate school and especially in undergrad, I never had a good feel for if I didn't go into academia, what exactly that actually looks like. That there are so many opportunities as well for analytical chemists, especially who are good at communication skills, that are good at other things too. It's some of that creative side, like Paola kind of mentioned, that are not just purely lab scientist based. And I think that being able to share what those are, especially with the next generation of scientists coming in, can really help bridge some of that disconnect.
It should be that industry and academia should be working more hand in hand as to what is the problems that industry are facing and where can academia fit into that and help guide the next generation of students. Because what we have often found across the UK is that actually there isn't necessarily the caliber of students, or what is required from industry isn't necessarily what is being coming out of academia. But then likewise, academia isn't being supported by industry. And so it's like a two-way, like a handshake, where they need to come together. And I think that what can be beneficial is from having like sandwich placements, or even summer projects, is that you can gain life skills from, or the students can gain life skills, and I can give people the opportunity to develop like presentation skills, or the chance to grow more as a scientist. I feel like sometimes women in science can or even guys, you don't necessarily get the opportunities to become noticed within in the scientific arena, and so it can give you the opportunity to actually build up those skills and build up the confidence to feel like, yes, I can actually do this. I can provide something extra to the scientific area.